This book called What Are the Gospels? A comparison with Greco-Roman biography was written by Richard Baldridge, who was a priest, a biblical scholar, and a social commentator. This book's main purpose is to compare the Gospels of the Bible to the Greco-Roman biography, because Bridges argued that the Gospels are a type of ancient biography, such as the Greco-Roman biography. The Gospels are considered the first four books of the New Testament, named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. In chapter 8 of this book, he titles it the Synoptic Gospels because he is making specific comparisons to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and he is explaining why the Gospels are considered ancient biography. This paper will summarize Richard Baldridge's arguments, evidence he prepared, conclusions, and I'll give my opinions on whether I agree with his conclusions or not. The main argument of this chapter, that is called the Synoptic Gospels, is that the book of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are considered ancient biographies. Many theologians and scholars disagree, saying that they were legends, myths, etc. Richard Baldridge went on to make specific comparisons on why the Synoptic Gospels are considered ancient biographies. What Baldridge does is that he looks at multiple different biographies and analyzes the structure from these biographies. He looks at biographies such as Baldridge and Nepos and compares them to the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. An example of Richard Baldridge making a comparison in chapter 8 is where he states that if we compare Synoptic Gospels with our bio, we note that Matthew goes straight into the subject's ancestry, like Nepos and Baldridge. Mark, however, like Xenophon, begins with just one sentence, while some of Baldridge's lives start straight in. Luke's uses of preface can be paralleled in Lucian and Philo, who have a paragraph each in the Isocrates, Tityches, and Philosophates, who all have more expanded prologue. Thus, the various beginnings of the Synoptic Gospels reflect a range of possibilities for a bio with respect to the opening preface. He argues that this chapter, that the Gospels fit the pattern of what ancient biographies will follow. He states that the Gospels will follow the same structure and as the ancient biographies. They usually have one main central figure. They introduce the main person by introducing the mission or the origin, and they emphasize the death of the main person while also talking about the purpose of their biography. So Richard argues that the Gospels fit just that. That main person is Jesus. The Gospels describe his story and his missions and his miracles, and they also spend a lot of time talking about his arrest, his trial, and his death. I personally do agree with this. I think that this is something that I do believe that this is a picture of what an ancient biography is, because this is also true. This is also, ancient biography is something that has happened. And I do agree with all of his statements that he says.